Welcome on board Japan's legendary bullet train. Step inside first class as we relax and picnic at speeds greater than 170 miles per hour.
Hello, Jet Setters. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. This is Japan's Shinkansen Train, and you're coming along.
Here's the plan. We'll leave Osaka at 11:21 in the morning and travel at unbelievable speeds across 319 miles for 2.5 hours to reach Tokyo. Osaka, Japan's third largest city, is beautiful, and it was hard to say goodbye. But the opportunity to try this country's legendary high-speed rail network was a siren call we could not resist.
We'd originally planned to make this trip on an overnight sleeper bus. Unfortunately, the bus malfunctioned, and that trip got canceled. Thankfully, it was no problem to book a train ticket. There are more than 100 departures between these two cities every day.
To say this station is bustling is an understatement. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it.
Between buying the tickets, printing the tickets, and now trying to find our track and train, this is all kind of overwhelming, but it's been going all right so far, so I think it's time to find some lunch.
And thankfully, there are plenty of takeaway restaurants and even a couple of full-service ones here in the station. The options were practically endless, and many of them were equally mysterious, at least to us. But for about $8 each, we both found something that would tide us over on this lunchtime trip. There's also a waiting room, but in our experience it was far too full to find space for us to sit.
We're booked into the green car, which is the equivalent roughly of first class. It was about $30 more per person, but we felt like it was a good value for the extra space.
We'll talk more about booking options and prices in just a bit. But for now, we have some luggage-related concerns. Again, we'd planned to take this trip on an overnight bus with less restrictive luggage requirements than Shinkansen. Bags with total dimensions of 160 centimeters or less are permitted on board, and thankfully, we were just under that. If we'd been over, we would have had to pay for extra space for the bags or ship them separately.
We've got to make our way to track 27.
Let us know in the comments below, where in the United States do you think would benefit most from a true high-speed train like Shinkansen?
It's about 30 minutes before our departure. We came up early up here to the platform to watch some of these Shinkansens come and go. They're absolutely beautiful machines, absolutely incredible.
If I could give a piece of advice about riding the Shinkansen, it would be to minimize the amount of luggage you're bringing on board. Obviously, we're not following that advice today, unfortunately. We weren't planning to be on this train today, but it's difficult navigating around the stations, carrying stuff and dragging bags around. Send them ahead if you can.
Soon, our train arrived, and before we knew it, we were boarding. Most cars in this train are arranged in a 2-3 configuration like this. However, the green cars, like the one we're in, offer a much cushier 2-2 configuration. There's also loads of legroom in here too. These seats will be extremely comfortable for this relatively quick journey. Good news, our overstuffed suitcases did fit up top. Thank goodness. If they hadn't, we would have had to have put them back here at an extra cost. Now, most passengers on Shinkansen with larger bags pre-arrange with shipping services to send them ahead to wherever they're heading.
And we're on board. Now, thankfully, those suitcases fit just fine up there, so that's a relief. But I guess overall, this is super comfortable so far. This will be a nice place to spend a few hours anyway, so let's get going.
Our car was not too full leaving Osaka, but even if it had been, there was plenty of room. These seats were extraordinarily roomy. And let me just talk about the recline for a second. That was amazing. The tray table is massive, and there's even a reading light, and a seat heater here. The footrest is a great addition, and Suzanne was prepared for the trip with this keychain we'd picked up in Osaka from our new favorite means of shopping, the capsule store. As you'd expect, we pulled out right on time. Urban Osaka would soon give way to Japan's countryside. Less than 10 minutes after we pulled out of the station, an attendant brought around a cold towel for all of us. I was never able to get the free Wi-Fi to work, but with some effort, Suzanne finally connected. It was extremely slow, a surprising glitch in an otherwise flawless experience. We made a number of stops along the way, but none of them lasted very long.
Quick stop here in Kyoto. Continuing on our way.
Prior to October 2023, cart service was provided throughout the train so passengers could purchase drinks, snacks, or even meals. However, since so many passengers do what we did, buy food in the station to bring on board, cart service has been discontinued. Only green cart passengers are able to use an online ordering system and have food and drinks delivered to their seats. So if you're not in the green car, make sure you pick up any drinks or snacks you need before the trip. With much effort, Suzanne was able to order drinks using the online system. That internet was just so finicky. The menu is pretty impressive, with options ranging from sandwiches to drinks, all kinds. There were snacks and even ice cream. Our beers were about $2.25 each. And with that, we pulled out the lunches we'd purchased back at the station. We were intimidated by the more adventurous options in there, so Suzanne had some Karanji fried chicken, and I'd chosen to have pork katsu. There are 3 different services between Tokyo and Osaka, but we chose the fastest Nozomi service, which only has 4 stops. The other services can take up to 4 hours on the same route, including many more stops, so make sure you pay attention to the train name if you care about speed. This train has 16 cars. 3 of them are standard cars with non-reserved seats. At about $95, these are the cheapest seats on the train. Next up, for around $100, you can book a reserved standard seat in one of the 10 cars with that configuration. Finally, there are 3 green cars like the one we're in. We paid $130 each for the privilege of sitting here. All in, there are seats for up to 1,300 people on this train. We booked our tickets through EX, and we'll link to their website below in case you want to get booked on this route too. This is the world's first high-speed rail line. It opened between Tokyo and Osaka back in 1964. At that time, the top speed was 130 miles per hour, but over time, improvements have allowed the top speed to increase to 177 miles per hour. There are over 240 trains per day between Osaka and Tokyo, making this line one of the busiest in Japan and the world. In fact, between these 2 cities, the Shinkansen carries approximately 340,000 passengers every single day. Another thing the Shinkansen is known for is punctuality. In 2022, the average delay per train on this route was only 1.1 minute. Can you imagine that in the United States? So, what does it feel like traveling at 177 miles per hour? Well, it was surprisingly smooth and quiet. Previously, the only true high-speed service I've experienced is Amtrak's Acela service in the Northeast United States, which can be quite jerky and loud. The Shinkansen experience is totally different. It really just feels like you're zooming from one place to another effortlessly, almost like you're flying. Here's a tip. Paying up for seat reservation may be worthwhile if you can catch a glimpse of Mount Fuji on this route. Sit on the left side of the train like we did traveling from Osaka to Tokyo to hopefully catch a glimpse of Mount Fuji. In the opposite direction, leaving Tokyo for Osaka, sit on the right. But you might find the same thing we did. That's cloudy skies. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the mountain, but we did just a few days before from the air. It was remarkable.
Pretty basic bathroom, unfortunately. Not those shiny, amazing Japanese toilets I've grown accustomed to here so far, but this will do the trick.
Suddenly, we traded the Japanese countryside for the urban metropolis of Tokyo, one of the world's largest cities. We arrived at Tokyo Station precisely on time, and I hope this won't be my last time on Shinkansen. But wait until you see the next train we experienced in Japan.
Between now and the next time, see you on the rails!